sure they don't sign the league. That's what they're doing.
All right. Well, good afternoon, guys. We are at week 14. We should know the process by now, I would hope. Kind of what you're going to see tonight, what you're going to see, what we normally talk about. I have a couple of new things I want to throw on you. There's also some game situations we need to talk about. That watching some games that actually came in over this past week. What I'm seeing, and also what some of my other people that I've asked to view these games, what they're seeing. So we're going to talk about that, and then we're going to. Tim has a training moment. Plus, we're going to do round the horn. So that's kind of what we're going to do today. Are y'all done up top? Kind of, sort of. They're having a little by themselves. Sure. All right. New information. This is something that happened during the preseason that we worked on. The executive committee and myself trying to add some new things that we didn't have in the past. So I wanted to also kind of stems from the new amendments that we did about week 3 or 4, where we added those to the Constitution. So just kind of reminding you about some dates and things that need to happen. All right, elections. At the end of this season, we're going to have 2 officer positions, which will be the position I'm holding now, and the recording secretary, which is the position that Jeff McAllister is holding. Those 2 positions, we were asked by the board, since we had the death of Willie Crabtree and the movement around, we were asked to be able to fill in, and we did for this year. Hopefully I've done a good job for you guys. Hopefully Jeff has as well. But those 2 positions will come up for a full vote and for a full term. Plus we have 1 board position that's going to do, which is Mike Rivers' position. So Mike will come up for either re-election or that spot will come up for re-election. Okay, all right, we got 2 board positions, so that'll be, Grant has moved to Baton Rouge. He's moved to Tigerland, so Alabama fan in the middle of Baton Rouge. That's kind of dangerous.
He's learning to go Tigers.
Yeah. But so his position will come open. Doesn't mean he can't be a member of our group, but I know he says that he's not going to have time to really do what a board member needs to do. So we'll have 2 officer positions and 2 board positions. The reminder part of it is that October 15th is the deadline, which is less than a month away, that you need, if you want to run for a board position for either of those 4 spots, you need to notify the election committee, which consists of Ron Coleman, over here to my right, Charles left, Anthony Garrett, I don't know if Anthony is here, he slips in a little later than normal, and then Felicia. Is Felicia here? They're right here in the front. And the lights are out, so I really can't see very well. But one of those 3, and then they have a procedure within themselves to kind of tally up the names. After October the 15th, and he will give me those names, and I'll read them off of who the actual people are up for election, and then the politics start. We will, for the ones that don't know, we will do elections through electronically. So everybody will have a window, have a login and a window to be able to go in. And once you go in and vote, that window is done. Your login is done. You can go back in and re-vote again, or sign on a computer, re-vote again. Once you log in and use that login, is done at that particular point. So we'll go over that more when that comes around toward the end of the season. But those 4 positions will come up in 2.
Jeff, just a quick question about that.
the electronic method of voting, I think, is a fantastic idea.
Get over here
Has
so I
it
can
been
see you.
tested? And if it hasn't been tested, do we have a backup method?
We will test it, and what I'm gonna do is, I'll probably get either your committee or something to kind of pick out a couple of questions that we'll just shoot out to everybody, let them answer, kind of like the quiz questions that the state gives out, just so we can test it, and see how quickly we get the data back. The website that Ron and I found, is we went through a little test on its own, and it got us some data back really quickly. So we'll know the data as soon as the window closes. We'll know who the winners are. Immediately, we'll know who they are. But in that information, in those particular elections,
You want to run to one spot, correct?
go for one spot. Pick.
You bounce them back and forth.
No, that was one of the things that Ron added was you choose a spot and that's what you run for. Even a board spot, you choose a spot and you run for. Board number 1, board number 2. That's the way that we just can't sit all night like we used to and spend, 3-4 hours doing elections and waiting for people to count ballots that we don't know was 100% accurate. This we know will be accurate depending on how many people vote. All right, awards. Last year and coming years, we've always had one award, which has always been the Official of the Year Award. Our reigning Official of the Year is, of course, Eddie Carr. It's a traveling trophy that comes back every year. We put the nameplate and the year on the side of the trophy, and it goes to the next person that actually wins the award. We added a couple of more awards that will actually be voted on by you guys, or voted on by the voting members, that will be inside the actual elections. When you're in there trying to choose president and recording secretary and board spots, those positions will be in there, and whoever's there will be able to choose for those. Now, you probably can't see them very well, but it's a memorial award that is kind of named after all of the members that have kind of passed away within our group, going back to when it first started. All this information is on our web. If y'all want to look at it, that's out there. But, it's for the most improved official in any position. And I know that's kind of broad and vague, but that's why we did it that way. It's kind of broad and vague. So we want to be able to have situations, and hopefully we can put a lot of that information in the election part of it. If not, I'll send it out to everybody and make sure they have it, of why they were actually nominated. The third one is the Rookie of the Year. And that was one of the things that we added to kind of get the first-year guys involved, seeing how much effort they put into it, who's putting the better effort in, and kind of making an award for themselves, where it's the most outstanding first-year official. And I would say it's the first-year official that is in our group. So that's also voted on by the voting members. And again, the official of the year is voted on by the executive committee. The other two are voted on by all of us. Any questions? Anyway, again, all this information is on Arbiter under the form section. There's gobs of all this information out there, so you can go and read further about it if you want to. All right, game situation. Let's talk about some things we have found. I pulled these next couple of slides out of my presentation at district and state meeting. This is some of the things that we are finding whenever we're watching these videos or watching the games that we're watching. We officiate action of players approaching in your zone. Everybody know what man zone man is, right? We got our key, which is the man. The ball snaps. We go to zone. The ball comes into your zone. Then you have man. That's what man zone man is, right? Everybody good with that? The ball snaps. We read the play. And we see the whole play. We hopefully don't see certain things that we think is holding. We want to make sure that we see that hold all the way through. We want to make sure we see that play all the way through. We owe it to the coaches and the kids to be able to do it right. Seems like we're kind of throwing some fouls and throwing some flags for things that we think is there, or maybe it's not there. But we're also throwing fouls and flags in areas that's outside our zones. There's no reason for a deep wing to throw a foul with the play at the base, at the feet of the umpire. Or throw something that's at the feet of a short wing. I'm stopping short by saying, don't fish in somebody's pond, but we want to work within our zones. We want to make sure we stay within our zone. If the ball comes in your zone, then your zone shrinks down. If the ball's in somebody else's zone, then your zone opens up and you have backside protection. Is everybody good with that? Everybody understand that? What we're saying. This is kind of a reference, to get everybody away. This is kind of a reference about those zones where you referee, umpire, linesman, line judge, side judge, back judge, and field judge. You have zones within that field that you're working with. The keys that you have from the very beginning when the ball snaps, they could be in those zones, or they could not be in those zones. The keys are there for the snap, and that's pretty much it. And you kind of stay within your zone at that point. Everybody good? Did I explain it right? Tim, did I explain it right? Everybody understand? But if we have a play that's in the middle of the field, and I saw it 2-3 times in a game this past week, where we had a play at the foot of the umpire, and the side judge comes in with a flag that's 25 yards away. Why didn't the umpire get that? Why didn't the umpire see it? Did the umpire pass on it? But if he was watching the ball, which he was watching, in the middle of the field, what was going on in his zone that he didn't see? Called a face mask. It's not his area. I'm not saying safety is not an issue. I'm saying why did he, the side judge, even see it? He's watching the ball. He's watching the game versus watching. We do what we're paid to do, which is officiate the ball.
Brings us to why the umpire didn't see it. And if he passed on safety foul, that's a whole nother issue.
Do we even know it was a face mask?
He said it was. Call it.
I didn't see it in the video, but I mean that's just what the video showed. But what I'm trying to come across is saying that stay in your area. Officiate your zone. Just like a referee should never know, correct me referees if I'm wrong, my first game as a referee, but the next one be my first one, is that y'all should never know that if a pass is complete or not, correct? Theoretically? Yeah. Unless it's a screen or something out inside you. If it's a long pass down the field, you're watching your referee. I mean, you're watching your quarterback, right? Which is watching their zone. Everybody else should be doing the same thing. There was a few instances where some deep wings were throwing fouls up by the line of scrimmage, right at the foot of the short wing. So we need to make sure that we call our area.
He's like, because when that shot loads, to see if he once that shot goes, if you pass on the face mask, that's a safety foul. If you see it, if your head turns and you're looking at your zone and you're reading through your zone, if you put that zone and you read through it,
I pulled a couple of slides that I did from a previous meeting, probably around week 3 or 4, where we talked about what a group is versus a team. And we defined a group as a number of individuals coming together. That's a group. Where a team is a group of working together to achieve a common goal. My goal as a president is to try to make sure that we're all a team. That we're working and we're improving as a team. And also becoming hopefully growing our leaders that are in our group. Everybody can be a leader. It depends on if you choose to be a leader. The actual complaints that we're receiving from people are complaints, which is fine. I listen to everyone and try to calm everybody back. But if you don't have a solution to that complaint, why call? Why make the complaint? Some of the times in management roles that I have and my managers that I try to teach, and hopefully y'all have too, to run a successful team, to run a successful business, when you have situations that are negative or complaints or any of that kind of stuff, you've got to have solutions to fix it. If you don't have solutions, you can't fix it and it festers, right? Managers that are out there, it festers and continue to terrible, and you got a horrible situation to be in. I'm asking y'all as leaders that everybody can be a leader. Everybody out here. If you have a complaint, have a solution. Help us out. We can't do it on our own. The board of officers and the executive team cannot do it on our own. We need everybody. We need everybody to make this group an actual team. We've got to work together to get that common goal. And our common goal is to, y'all know what the goal was? Make this association be the best association in the state of Alabama. Right? So I'm asking y'all, we get complaints. I'm not saying don't call me for complaints. I'm saying call me with complaints. Call me with solutions about these complaints. Everybody good? Let's see. Assignment committee is getting complaints. I'm getting complaints. Board members are getting complaints. If we don't solve them, they continue to be complaints that fester and get out of control. And we're ever going to become a team, everyone needs to become leaders, so we need solutions. So that's all I want to say about that. All right.
This information for everybody, crew chiefs especially. If you can get the quicker you can get your games in, the quicker I will try to pay. The thing about Wednesday is still the rule of thumb, but I found out and talked to Jeff about it. We're running like 55 and 65 games a week, so I sit down on Wednesday to try to do all those, and it takes forever. So if you get your crews in that night after the game, you may get paid the next day. But I can't pay unless everybody's crew is in. It behooves you to get your crew in. I'll just use an example. John Esposito's crew is in, and Tom's crew is not. On a Monday night, I can't pay Monday night. Got to have all of them in at one time. So get them in after the game. It doesn't take just a minute. Do that email and send it in, and we'll plug it in either that night or the next morning, and you may get paid.
I think we got paid.
Before I address the training moment, concerning the play clock, if you have the clock, go over to the press box, try it a few times, make sure it's working. If it's not, report that to the referee so we can handle it. Tonight's training moment is about illegal participation, which the breakout session is going to be about. And I made myself a few notes. It's rather complicated, and I don't want to miss anything, but just a few key points. I'm not going to spend a lot of time going over every possible illegal participation because you can get a lot of this in your breakout sessions. But there are actually 12 acts that can be, but let me back up. When I talk about illegal participation, we're talking about participation substitution, because sometimes you may have something happen and it might be a substitution. Maybe you got a guy trying to get off the field. He gets off, he doesn't get off in time, but he doesn't draw any defensive coverage or whatever. Then that might be a substitution. Or you could have a situation where it might even be illegal participation. So when I say that, it has to do with the participation or substitution. So, some of those fouls are fouls that happen at the snap, and some are penalized under the all but one. It really depends upon the situation in which it happens. So, just report that, and I'm going to talk about a couple of those in just a minute. You know, you can talk your other, you know, things like having 12 players on the field, players intentionally going out of bounds, disqualified players re-entering, an injured player that was supposed to sit out of play, coming back in. Those are the type of things that would be illegal participation. What I want to do is focus in on the one that I seem to be getting most phone calls on, and that has to do with A or K going out of bounds. So let me, and if this is old stuff for most of you, I'm sorry. I hope that I do get a lot of phone calls on this year. So I want to cover it. So member of A or K cannot go out of bounds intentionally or accidentally unless they are forced out of bounds. You all clear on that? A member of B or R, they can go out of bounds if it's unaccidentally. So if I'm a receiver and I'm receiving a punt and I drift over and I step out of bounds, and maybe I come back in bounds and I catch the ball, that's perfectly legal. There's nothing wrong. They have not committed a foul, which brings me to another thing I've been called about. There's no such thing in football that you cannot be the first person to touch the ball after having been out of bounds. Everybody clear? So now, if I have gone out of bounds and I've gone out of bounds illegally, and I come back in bounds and I touch the ball, my touching of the ball is legal, but the fact that I participate, I have illegal participation, creates a foul. It's not touching the ball that creates the foul, it's the having been out of bounds. Everybody clear about that?